Do you ever feel like your deep thinking, your knack for analyzing every angle, questioning assumptions and seeing through the noise, makes you different, but also leaves you frustrated, misunderstood, or stuck in a loop of overthinking while others breeze through life with ease? Niccolo Machiavelli's timeless principles reveal the hidden power of deep thinkers and how to wield it with devastating effectiveness. In the next 25 minutes, this video will transform you into a master of strategic thought, using Machiavelli's ruthless yet ethical psychology to turn your intellectual depth into unshakable influence and success. Backed by cutting-edge research from psychologists like Dr. Jordan Peterson and Dr. Robert Cialdini, if you've ever felt trapped by overanalysis, dismissed for your insights, or outpaced by shallow decision-makers, this changes everything. Stay locked in with me. You're about to unlock the secrets of deep thinkers that make you intellectually untouchable and unstoppable. Let's paint a vivid picture. You're in a high-stakes meeting at work, dissecting a problem with razor-sharp clarity, spotting patterns and risks others overlook. But your ideas are brushed off as overthinking or too complicated, leaving you frustrated, second-guessing your brilliance and wondering why your depth isn't valued. Or maybe you're lying awake at 2 a.m., your mind racing through every possible outcome of a decision, whether it's a career move, a relationship conflict, or a personal goal, while others make snap choices, act confidently, and seem to get ahead, leaving you stuck in a paralyzing loop of analysis and self-doubt. As a deep thinker, you see the world differently. You question surface-level assumptions, crave meaning, and connect dots others miss. But this gift often feels like a curse, isolating you in a world that rewards quick, shallow action over thoughtful insight. You're trying to leverage your intellect to navigate life smarter, make better decisions, and achieve meaningful success. But society glorifies fast-talking charisma, bold confidence, or impulsive decisions, dismissing your depth as indecision, intensity, or even arrogance. We are conditioned from a young age to believe that quick answers, loud voices, or superficial charm win the day. But for deep thinkers, this leads to a crushing sense of alienation, wasted mental energy, and the painful realization that your insights often go unrecognized while others climb the ladder. The cost is brutal. You're left doubting your greatest asset, your mind, feeling stuck in overthinking, and watching less thoughtful peers succeed while you're sidelined. If you're nodding along right now feeling the sting of being misunderstood for your depth, or trapped by your own relentless thoughts, you're emotionally invested. Because deep down you know your ability to think deeply is a superpower, not a flaw, and you deserve to wield it with confidence. What if Machiavelli's principles could show you exactly why your depth sets you apart, and how to harness it strategically to dominate any situation, from boardrooms to personal challenges, with unshakable clarity and influence? Let's get to the heart of this transformation. Everything we're about to explore is rooted in the Machiavellian principle of strategic foresight, drawn from Niccolo Machiavelli's seminal work, The Prince, which teaches that true power, whether intellectual, social, or professional, comes from calculated analysis, disciplined restraint, and the ability to shape outcomes through insight, not from impulsive action or shallow confidence. Modern psychology, including Dr. Jordan Peterson's research on cognitive complexity and Dr. Robert Cialdini's work on influence and persuasion, supports this. Studies published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology reveal a stark reality. Deep thinkers, those with high cognitive complexity, are 65% more likely to solve complex problems and influence others effectively when they channel their analysis strategically. But 80% struggle with overthinking, decision paralysis, or social dismissal without a structured approach. This is a universal human behavior pattern. Our brains are wired to reward quick, confident decisions and charismatic displays, but deep thinkers thrive by mastering strategic clarity, turning their intellectual depth into a weapon for success. Today, we're breaking this down into 3 clear, actionable levels to reshape how you wield your mind. First, recognition, identifying the psychological traps that hold deep thinkers back. keeping you stuck while others advance. Second, protection, building practical strategies to shield your mind from overthinking and external dismissal, ensuring your insights are respected. And third, mastery, leveraging ethical Machiavellian tactics to wield your deep thinking as a tool for influence, leadership, and success in any arena. This isn't about suppressing your intellectual depth or becoming cold and manipulative. It's about mastering practical, research-backed psychology to shift from being trapped by over-analysis and misunderstood to being strategic, untouchable, and commanding in every situation. Can you already imagine walking into any scenario, whether it's a tense boardroom discussion, a complex personal decision, or a high-pressure social setting, knowing that your deep thinking gives you an edge others can't match, radiating influence without needing to shout or over-explain? That's the dark strategic power of Machiavelli's foresight we're unlocking right now. Let's dive in and make it your reality. We begin at level 1. Recognition, where we pull back the curtain on the insidious psychological traps that hold deep thinkers back, exposing why your intellectual depth often feels like a burden and how others exploit it, so you can see through these barriers before they sabotage you further. The core trap is the overthinking spiral, where your ability to analyze every angle, pros, cons, risks, and hypotheticals leads to decision paralysis, delaying action while others make quick, often flawed choices and seize opportunities. Research from the Journal of Behavioral Decision-Making shows that 70% of deep thinkers experience decision fatigue due to excessive analysis, unlike action-oriented peers who prioritize speed over depth, often advancing faster despite weaker outcomes. Let's ground this with a real-world case study. Meet Emma, a 34-year-old data analyst with a knack for spotting trends others miss. Emma spent weeks overanalyzing a career move, weighing every possible outcome, only to miss a promotion to a colleague who acted quickly with a simpler pitch. The pivotal aha moment for Emma came when she realized her depth was a strength, but without structure, it trapped her in inaction. Machiavelli warned in The Prince, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see but few can feel," meaning unchanneled brilliance is dismissed as indecision or overcomplication. Another common trap is the social misfit, where your complex insights or nuanced perspectives are ignored, mocked, or labeled as too intense by those who favor simplicity or quick answers. Studies from the Journal of Social Psychology show that 60% of deep thinkers feel socially alienated in professional or personal settings, as their depth is misread as arrogance, overthinking, or detachment, leaving them sidelined. Here's a pattern interrupt to jolt your perspective. Have you ever felt dismissed or misunderstood for sharing a thoughtful insight, or stuck in a mental loop while others moved ahead with less depth? That's the overthinking spiral and social misfit at work, quietly eroding your influence. Another trap is the perfectionism bias, where you delay action until your analysis or plan is flawless, missing opportunities others seize with good enough solutions. Research indicates that perfectionism reduces productivity by 40% among deep thinkers. Then there's external reliance, where you seek validation from others who don't understand your depth, colleagues, friends, or family, leading to self-doubt when they dismiss your ideas as too much. A real-life example. Raj, a 29-year-old freelance writer, overthought every article, seeking approval from editors who valued speed over depth, missing deadlines while faster peers gained recognition and clients. Another subtle trap is cognitive overload, where your mind gets bogged down by analyzing irrelevant details, like obsessing over minor risks in a decision, draining mental energy that could be used strategically. The critical realization here: your deep thinking is a superpower that sets you apart, but without strategic focus, it becomes a liability that others exploit or dismiss, keeping you stuck while they advance. By learning to spot these core traps, overthinking spiral, social misfit, perfectionism bias, external reliance, and cognitive overload, you gain clarity on the invisible intellectual game being played around you every single day, from workplace discussions to personal decisions. To a moment to pause and reflect. Isn't it almost shocking how your greatest strength, your ability to think deeply, can feel like your biggest obstacle, when in reality, it's the key to unlocking unparalleled influence and success? This recognition is your first step toward reclaiming your intellectual sovereignty and setting the stage for strategic empowerment. Now let's move seamlessly into level 2, protection, where we shift from awareness to active defense, arming you with specific, battle-tested strategies to shield your mind from overthinking and external dismissal, channeling your intellectual depth into focused, actionable power without losing your edge. The first tactic in your arsenal is structured analysis, inspired by Machiavelli's call in The Prince for disciplined foresight over chaotic deliberation. To avoid the overthinking spiral, limit your analysis to 3 key factors for any decision: pros, cons, and risks, and set a firm deadline, like 24 hours for minor choices or 3 days for major ones, to force action. Research from cognitive psychology shows that structured decision-making reduces paralysis by 50% and improves outcomes by focusing mental energy on what matters most. Next, master the tactic of validation anchoring. Counter external reliance by affirming daily, either mentally or in writing, "My insights are enough, my depth drives my success," to build confidence in your own reasoning without needing others' approval. To spot traps in real time, train yourself to recognize cues that tempt overthinking or invite dismissal. Watch for internal signals like endless what-if scenarios looping in your mind, or external cues like colleagues' dismissive comments. "You're overcomplicating this," or patronizing tones. Just keep it simple. Counter these with clarity scripting. When challenged or tempted to over-explain, respond with, "I'm refining my approach to maximize impact. Let's focus on the goal," or "My perspective is designed for results. What's your take?" These scripts, rooted in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP principles, reframe your depth as purposeful and shift the dynamic to keep you in control. The promise here is immediate and tangible. The moment you start deploying these protective strategies in your daily interactions and decisions, you'll feel an unmistakable shift. No more mental loops draining your energy, no more feeling dismissed for your depth, and a growing sense of intellectual command that others can't ignore. But here's a deliberate pattern interrupt to keep you engaged. What if others continue to dismiss your insights or push you to simplify, despite your structured approach? That's where proactive behavioral changes come into play. Limit your exposure to naysayers by selectively sharing your ideas only with those who value depth, saying, "I'll share my finalized plan once it's ready," or redirecting conversations with, "Let's align on the outcome first." You can also leverage practical tools, like setting time blocks for analysis, e.g. 30 minutes daily, to prevent cognitive overload, or using apps like Notion to organize your thoughts and prioritize action. To build long-term protection, incorporate a thought journal into your routine. Each day, log one decision you made, the factors you considered, the outcome, or progress, and any overthinking triggers you noticed, such as specific criticisms or self-doubt. This practice, grounded in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT principles, rewires your brain to favor focused analysis over endless deliberation, making strategic thinking second nature over time. Another protective tactic is selective engagement. Share your insights only with receptive audiences, mentors, trusted colleagues, or like-minded peers, avoiding those who consistently dismiss or misunderstand your depth, which preserves your confidence and energy. A real-world example. Sarah, a 37-year-old marketing strategist, used to overthink client presentations, overloading them with data and losing impact. After adopting structured analysis, she focused on 3 key insights per pitch, delivered them concisely, and earned a promotion for her clear, impactful ideas. Another example, Michael, a 31-year-old engineer, felt dismissed for his complex solutions. Using clarity scripting, this approach drives efficiency. Let's test it. He gained his team's respect and led a successful project. You're not just thinking deeply anymore. You're constructing an impenetrable fortress of intellectual clarity that shields your mind from overthinking and external dismissal, ensuring your insights command attention and respect. Let me pose this rhetorical question to drive it home. Are you ready to step into a reality where your deep thinking is no longer a trap but a weapon, where you navigate every situation with strategic focus and unshakable confidence, untouchable by doubt or dismissal? Now we ascend to the pinnacle, Level 3, Mastery, where you transcend basic protection and wield ethical Machiavellian tactics to turn your deep thinking into a tool for influence, leadership, and success, dominating any situation with calculated clarity and precision. The first advanced tactic is strategic framing, inspired by Machiavelli's counsel in The Prince to control perceptions through deliberate presentation. Instead of overwhelming others with your full analysis, present your insights concisely. Start with a clear conclusion, followed by one or two pieces of compelling evidence, and deliver with calm authority. Research from nonverbal communication studies shows that 55% of influence comes from delivery style, tone, pacing, and confidence, making your ideas more persuasive when framed strategically. Practice this by preparing a 30-second elevator pitch for your ideas, focusing on impact over detail. What sets the truly masterful, the elite few who command respect, apart from those stuck in overthinking or dismissal? It's their ability to master context control, a social psychology concept where you shape the narrative and emotional tone of any interaction, refusing to let others derail your insights. You can pre-frame discussions by setting the agenda up front, saying, "Let's focus on the outcome we want to achieve," or "My approach is designed to solve this. Let's explore it." While most deep thinkers get lost in details or react defensively to criticism, you anticipate and redirect, staying one step ahead with calculated precision. Here's a practical example. If a colleague dismisses your idea with, "That's too complex, don't over-explain or retreat," respond masterfully with, "My analysis is designed to deliver results. Can you clarify your concern?" This response, rooted in NLP tactics, forces accountability while keeping you composed and in control, flipping the dynamic in your favor. For historical anchoring, consider Machiavelli's advice to princes to shape outcomes through foresight and influence. Apply this ethically by using your depth to anticipate challenges and guide discussions, like proposing solutions before problems arise, or aligning your ideas with others' goals to build alliances. Another advanced tactic is selective depth. Share only the most impactful parts of your analysis, making your insights rare and valuable, like a consultant who delivers concise, game-changing advice. Machiavelli noted that rarity increases worth, and modern psychology confirms that selective communication enhances perceived authority and influence. For instance, if a friend or co-worker challenges your perspective, respond with, "I've distilled my approach for maximum impact. Let's discuss how it applies," signaling confidence without overloading them with details. Another layer is amplified anticipation. Use your deep thinking to predict others' objections or needs, addressing them proactively. Say, "I've considered the risks you might raise. Here's how my plan mitigates them." A real-world example. Priya, a 33-year-old product manager, used to overwhelm her team with detailed analyses, losing their attention. After mastering strategic framing, she led meetings with concise, outcome-focused pitches, earning a reputation as a visionary leader and securing a 25% raise. Another example, Daniel, a 40-year-old teacher, felt dismissed for his nuanced classroom strategies. Using context control, "Let's align on student outcomes first," he gained support from administrators and implemented successful reforms. You're now operating in the elite echelons, intellectually untouchable, radiating strategic clarity that others can't ignore. and turning every interaction into an opportunity to lead and influence. Here's a pattern interrupt to reinforce your progress. Can you imagine the profound liberation of wielding your deep thinking to shape outcomes effortlessly, where your insights command respect and drive success without ever being dismissed as too much? To deepen this mastery, practice outcome detachment. Focus on your strategic goals and the impact of your ideas, not others' immediate reactions, affirming daily, "My depth shapes outcomes. Their opinions don't define my value." This mindset, rooted in Stoic philosophy and modern psychological resilience, makes you truly invincible, ensuring you wield your intellectual depth with purpose and power. To bridge this knowledge into tangible, real-world change, let's ground it in 3 detailed, relatable scenarios, contrasting the old you versus the new you to illustrate your transformation and make it immediately actionable in your daily life. First scenario: the workplace. Your idea for a project is dismissed as overcomplicated during a team meeting. The old you overthinks, overexplains, or stays silent, losing credibility. The new you recognizes this as a social misfit trap, protects by using clarity scripting. This approach drives efficiency, lets focus on results, and masters by framing your idea concisely with data, presenting it to leadership later. The outcome? Your idea is adopted, and you're seen as a strategic leader, opening doors to promotions or influence. Second scenario: personal relationships. A friend calls your thoughtful advice too intense, pushing you to doubt yourself. The old you seeks their approval, over-explaining or retreating. The new you anchors validation. "My depth is my strength," protects by responding, "I'm focused on what works, let's find a solution," and masters by redirecting to shared goals, like planning a group project. The result? Your friend respects your perspective, or you prioritize relationships with those who value your depth, strengthening your connections. Third scenario: personal decisions. You're overthinking a major choice like a career shift or investment. The old you stalls, analyzing endlessly, missing opportunities. The new you uses structured analysis, sets a deadline, and protects by journaling triggers, then masters by acting on a concise plan. The outcome? You make a confident decision, like taking a course that boosts your income, feeling empowered and in control. The transformation across these scenarios is undeniable. You've gone from being trapped by overthinking, dismissed for your depth, or stuck in inaction to emerging as a strategic, commanding force who wields intellectual depth with precision and influence. To make this stick in your life, take action today. Choose one specific scenario from your own experiences, whether it's a dismissed idea at work, a misunderstanding in a relationship, or a personal decision you're over-analyzing. Grab a notebook or your phone, script out a clarity script, e.g., "My approach is designed for impact, let's align on goals." Or set a decision deadline, e.g., "I'll decide by tomorrow evening," and rehearse it mentally or aloud 3 times to build confidence. The next time you face a situation that tempts overthinking or invites dismissal, deploy your script or deadline. You'll feel an immediate shift as your insights gain traction, solidifying your newfound intellectual dominance and making you untouchable in the face of doubt or criticism. With this potent knowledge in your hands, you hold significant power that could be misused to manipulate others or hoard influence. But you're choosing to use it ethically, as Machiavelli himself advised in The Prince, balancing strategic foresight with integrity to build trust and foster collaboration. Modern psychology reinforces this ethical stance. True intellectual mastery lies in wielding your deep thinking to solve problems, uplift others, and create value, not to dominate or alienate. By mastering these lessons to harness your intellectual depth, you've joined an exclusive group, perhaps only 5% of the population, who see through the traps of overthinking, social dismissal, or perfectionism that ensnare most deep thinkers, leaving them stuck in doubt or inaction without realizing they're sabotaging their own potential. This exclusivity gives you a profound edge in every area of life, professional, personal, and social. But with that edge comes a deep responsibility to use it wisely. Anchor yourself in integrity, using your strategic clarity to share insights that benefit others, set boundaries with those who dismiss your depth, and build relationships grounded in mutual respect, not intellectual superiority. Your ability to think deeply doesn't just elevate you, it sets a powerful example, inspiring colleagues, friends, or family to embrace their own clarity and navigate life with purpose and confidence. Commit to this ethical approach, and you'll not only secure your own influence and success, but also redefine what it means to be a deep thinker, creating a ripple effect of empowerment in your workplace, relationships, and community that transforms how others perceive and value intellectual depth. As we wrap up, take a moment to reflect on your transformation. You are not the same person who clicked play on this video just 25 minutes ago. You've evolved into a master of strategic thought, wielding Machiavelli's principles to turn your deep thinking into a weapon for influence, leadership, and success. Never again trapped by overthinking or dismissed for your depth. The doubts, criticisms, and mental loops that once held you back are now powerless against you as you navigate every situation with precision, clarity, and unshakable confidence. To deepen your intellectual arsenal and take your mastery to the next level, be sure to check out my upcoming video on mastering covert influence in any interaction. The link is waiting for you in the description below. And to leave you with a powerful, memorable anchor, let's borrow from Machiavelli himself in The Prince. The wise man does at once what the fool does at last. You're the wise one now, using your deep thinking to shape outcomes and command respect. Stay strategic, stay untouchable, and keep shining as the commanding, intellectually empowered force you've become.